Hello, my name's Rob Dawson and I'm filming this from our 3PB chambers in London. This is where I'm based and this is where I did my pupillage, which I finished in September 2022. So just over a year into tenancy here at 3PB. So I've been asked to talk to you today about some of the work I did in pupillage and then some of the work I did through my first year of tenancy and where I am at the moment with my career. So starting with pupillage, the great thing about pupillage at 3PB, I'd say one of the great things about pupillage at 3PB is that as a pupil you get exposure to so many different areas of law, and that's very intentional. Pupils are told from day one the reason for this, and it's essentially to make you a well-rounded barrister. So a bit about my background first. Before I came to the bar, I had a career in the construction industry. I knew I wanted to specialise in construction law, and I knew that 3PB had a very well-known and highly regarded construction and engineering group in chambers. So with that in mind, 3PB and the head of pupillage gave some very careful thought to planning, to structuring my pupillage so that I could gain exposure to many different areas of law, but still having one eye on where I wanted to go, where I wanted to end up with my career. Now, a construction barrister's practice can be very paperwork heavy, so a big part of that planning was to make sure that I got as much court exposure as possible. So I got to see cases in the High Court, so chancery cases, commercial, property, family cases, and I got to see some very experienced barristers in court cross-examining witnesses, cross-examining experts. And then in my second six, I got to be in court in my own right. And the intention at 3PB in the second six is to give pupils as much court exposure as possible and to build up court practice and essentially be in front of judges and build confidence with their advocacy. So by the tail end of, and they build that up gradually, so by the tail end of pupillage, start of tenancy, I was in court almost every day, and I was doing a mix of work. So I was doing personal injury, property, commercial, construction. Personal injury I found really useful because you're doing a full trial, sometimes in the space of about 3 hours, so really good experience. And if I contrast that position to some of my peers in other chambers, some of them, believe it or not, wouldn't set foot at all in their own right, wouldn't set foot in court in their own right in their second six. So a very different experience, and more common than one would think. Now I'm a year into tenancy. My work's mainly construction work with some commercial. So about 6 months into tenancy, I started to narrow that focus to start to really focus on the sort of work I wanted to do. And now my practice is very different to some of my peers here in chambers. So those that are doing personal injury work, employment law, criminal law, they're in court on a daily basis. I have a much more paperwork focused practice. But when I am sent off to court, I know that over the last year and a half, I've built that confidence that I'm not scared to be in a courtroom. I'm more comfortable being in front of difficult judges, and they are a thing, and they are around. And it helps me to sort of focus on the work at hand, so focus on the law as opposed to the nerves of being in court. So as I said, I'm based in London, and I get to travel around quite a bit with my work, in easy reach of all of the courts in central London and courts in Greater London and the South East Circuit. But we're also quite well connected here to the region, so it's easy to jump on a train up to Birmingham or across to Bristol, and I am quite frequently travelling out to court to some of those areas. So I thought I'd give you a bit of a flavour of some of the work that I do. So take last week as an example, and I've had to write this down. So last Monday I had a construction trial in Bournemouth. On Tuesday I was then back up in London, so I went to a without prejudice meeting, construction related dispute. So that was at the subcontractor's offices. On Wednesday I was in the Insolvency and Companies Court, so in the High Court. That was an application to amend the company register. On Thursday I did a possession hearing in Wandsworth, so West London. Friday morning I had a conference with the client in relation to an ongoing construction adjudication that I'm dealing with, and then on Friday afternoon on a train down to Bromley, South London, for a short application hearing. So I said that I wasn't in court much, but last week quite a busy week of travelling around, and this week, in contrast, I've got the week blocked off to do some paperwork. I've got quite a bit of paperwork to get through, and I've got a conference with the client in relation to a 2-day hearing I've got in Winchester next week. So a very busy practice, and come the end of the week, I sort of sit down and think that's a pretty full-on week, but still really appreciating the work I'm doing and feeling very lucky to be able to do the work. So it's tough to get pupillage, to get through the application process, but really worth it when you get there. So I encourage all of you to put all the hard work in to get where you want to be.
Hi, I'm Elizabeth and I'm a family barrister at 3PB. I was called to the bar in 2021. In terms of family work, the opportunities at 3PB are fantastic. Chambers offers work across all aspects of family law and encourages practitioners to gain experience in each area. At 3PB, you are given the flexibility to tailor your practice to your own strengths and to your own interests, but you are also encouraged to keep an open mind and to push yourself outside of your comfort zone. At 3PB, members are also supported to develop new practice areas that may complement their main area. So for example, in family law, you are able to and encouraged to do work in the education team, which beautifully complements family work. There is often a misinformed view that work outside London is of a lesser quality and that the remuneration is poorer. In my experience, that is incorrect. The work on offer in Birmingham in particular is as complex as you seek. It's of a very, very high quality and the remuneration is brilliant. I live in Worcestershire and most commonly appear in and around Birmingham in court. The benefits of working and living close to Birmingham are that you are able to be part of the large hub on the Midland Circuit. So Birmingham is the biggest hub on the Midland Circuit. It's a very friendly and supportive circuit. Within Birmingham, there are always networking events that you are able to attend. And as I said, there is a fantastic quality of work and you can have a very, very busy and successful practice in Birmingham. Living and working in Birmingham means that you have, as I've said, a busy practice, but it also means that you have far less living costs than you would if you were in London. In my opinion, there is no disadvantage to one's practice by choosing not to live and work in London. There truly is a high quality of work outside of London, and in my experience, that is particularly so in Bristol and Birmingham.
Hi, I'm Eleanor James and I'm a civil practitioner at the Bournemouth Centre. My main practice is in personal injury law, including clinical negligence and inquests. At the Bournemouth Centre, we have a mixture of members in the civil team. We have members whose sole practice is in family law. We also have members who are criminal practitioners. So as a pupil, there would be a variety of work to get involved with at the Bournemouth Centre. And of course, here we have our own Bournemouth Crown and County Court, as well as the Coroner's Court. And I know from the latter in particular that the Coroner's Court has dealt with some pretty high-profile inquests. In terms of the benefits of living and working in Bournemouth, well, you can have a very successful practice in Bournemouth. There's many local firms rated in the Legal 500 who regularly instruct Bournemouth members. And not only that, but you have Bournemouth Beach on your doorstep and the New Forest just up the road. We also have regular centre meetings, and afterwards there's always an opportunity to have a drink and a chat with other members in Bournemouth. And we have an annual Christmas party, which is also a nice opportunity to meet everyone and have a catch up. So a very friendly centre.
Hello there, I'm Matthew Cannings. I'm one of the barristers at 3PB Barristers, and I've been asked to talk to you a little bit about where I'm primarily based, which is our Bristol centre. 3PB in Bristol is based in Victoria Street, right in the centre of Bristol and just across the road from the Bristol Civil Justice Centre, where almost all of the High Court, County Court and Employment Tribunal hearings take place. I understand you might be thinking of applying for pupillage at 3PB Barristers. And as you will hopefully already know, we're based in London, Oxford, Winchester, Bournemouth, Birmingham and Bristol. And if you apply for pupillage with us, although you'll be located in one of the centres, you will have exposure to and experience of a wide variety of our centres and the work that offers. But specifically as to Bristol, we have a number of barristers here who practice in pretty much all of our main practice group areas, perhaps except for crime, but certainly in terms of civil law, so commercial law, property law, personal injury law, employment law. There are barristers here who specialise in all of those disciplines, and we also have a strong family law group base here in Bristol. One of the advantages we think about being a pupil at 3PB Barristers is that you will experience exposure to a whole wide range of practice areas. You might have some ideas of the sort of law you wish to specialise in when you apply or when you start a pupillage. And it might be that they stay with you right through your pupillage and in hopefully to tenancy at the end of it. But things might change, and I'm a specialist barrister in property law and commercial law, but I didn't start out like that. And when I was a pupil and when I was a very junior tenant, I did pretty much everything, including personal injury, insolvency, a small amount of crime. I also had opportunities, if I'd have wanted to work in family law, employment law, construction law, and again, all of the areas of law that Bristol and 3PB offer. As to Bristol itself, I didn't know much about Bristol until I moved here, and I moved here to be 3PB Barristers Bristol pupil about 15 years ago. But I have fully embedded myself into the legal community here and the wider community through the help that 3PB provides. And our pupillage scheme is excellent, both at teaching you the skills you need to hopefully become a successful barrister, but also we like to think in integrating you into both 3PB's community and also the wider community wherever you might be based. As to Bristol itself, I find Bristol to be a great place to live. It is well located, both in terms of not being far away from London. It's also very easy to get to the centre and the north of England and into Wales. And in the other direction, we're not far away from Cornwall and Devon, and a trip to the beach is very easy from Bristol. As to pupillage in 3PB generally, one of the big advantages we have is that because we're such a large set with over 250 barristers, around 50 staff, both in terms of clerks and support staff, is that there is a wide network of people who can help you, both as a pupil and as a junior tenant. And you will always find somebody who can assist you with whatever your problem is, whether it's a pupil type problem and you might want to speak to another pupil. If you're successful in an application for pupillage at 3PB, you won't be the only pupil here. There'll be a number of pupils, but you won't be in direct competition with any of your other fellow pupils. So they're people you can trust, hopefully make friends with, will no doubt support you mutually as you go through your pupillage with us. You'll also be able to call upon the assistance of junior barristers in chambers, and you will find that any member of chambers or any member of staff is always willing to help you, whether it's by walking into another room in whichever centre you're in, or by sending an email perhaps to a specific member, or to the whole of chambers, or to the whole of a practice group, or by calling someone up. You will always find that there are a large number of people here in chambers who are willing to help you, not only if you're a pupil, but also if you're a junior tenant, or in fact, perhaps if you're a more senior tenant as well. 3PB has the advantage of having a wide pool of barristers, meaning that somebody will always know the answer to your question, and somebody will have always experienced the sort of thing that you might be going through and might need help with. I hope this video has been helpful, and I hope you do put in an application to apply for one of our pupillages. Good luck if you do.
Hello, I'm Joshua Dubin. I'm a property practitioner out of the Oxford Centre. I'm going to talk to you first about who practices here. We've got property barristers like me doing neighbour disputes and all kinds of tort, common law, contract, landlord and tenant work. We've also got a large contingent of family practitioners. They'll be doing private finance work, private divorce work, and what they would call the public law aspect of family, children and care cases. And we've also got employment practitioners here, and running through that is a stream of discrimination law and some education. So there's a wide range that you'll be able to see. What would you see though? Well, in terms of paperwork and court appearances, the family team are the ones who are in court most, I would say, and they'll be doing all kinds of hearings and very busy. There's also a court of protection stream of work, mostly undertaken by the family practitioners. For the employment practitioners, we have a wide range of call. So you'll see everything from fairly hefty employment trials through to slightly less hefty cases for those at the bottom end of the call range. And the property practitioners like me, some of whom also have a commercial side to their work, will be doing the rounds of county court and first tier tribunal cases, now that we're back up to something like pre-pandemic standards of court hearings. The amount of work is still quite considerable, property litigation is thriving, and there'll be plenty for you to see. In terms of why you should come to Oxford, the first thing to say is it is a beautiful city. It's a nice place to be, but there are other things that make it an important and useful place to have a practice. It's also a great place to be a student, although maybe not an Oxford University or Oxford Brookes University type of student. For instance, if you like food, Oxford's a very cosmopolitan city. There are all the usual food chains, there are independents, there is world food, particularly in the East Oxford area. It's great for that kind of entertainment. Other kinds of entertainment, we have 2 professional theatres, we have lots of music venues, commercial, professional and indie, and we also have, and this is more important perhaps for practice, great transport access. The train line runs from Edinburgh and Newcastle in the north down to Southampton and Bournemouth in the south, which is great for chambers practice areas in Birmingham and Winchester and Bournemouth. But also east to west, we can get to Bristol by train very easily with only one local stop to change at. And by car, we also are fairly central. So it's easy to get to site views, tribunals, courts all around the country. In terms of transport to our flagship in London and to the courts there, it's a very easy journey, and we have 2 train lines, Chiltern and Great Western. So that makes it much easier for practitioners to get around. In terms of opportunities for living relatively inexpensively, Oxford, being a university city, does have those. Don't forget, during term time there'll be all kinds of things on offer relatively cheaply to attract the student population.